Now let me shift gears a little bit and talk about spiritual energy and earth consciousness. I know these two things should not be tied down with money, but just give me a minute, hear me out. I have some interesting observations for you just to consider. Why? And then again, it ties down to the fact that there's more that goes on that meets our eye. That's a fact, whether you believe it or not. All right, so spiritual energy or earth consciousness. Theory is that whenever we have low energy going around in the world, markets are down and other things also reflect that. For example, we're going to go back and look in the 90s. This is a 1990. I'm going to showcase August. The market, 1990 August, June to July, the market was making new all-time highs on the Dow. And this was you see the price going up, and yet the relative strength index was showing some kind of negative divergence. So there was already weakness, and the market started trending lower. And then just after two weeks of down action and threatening this 10-week moving average, Saddam Hussein invades Kuwait. So there was already low energy going around, and he just became the catalyst or the excuse for this measure of low consciousness over the next couple of months. All right, let's go back and look at what happened in 1994. The markets had been down for a couple of for 3 or 4 months in a bearish action, and right in the middle of it, the Rwanda genocide was ignited on April 6th, 1994, right here. So there was low consciousness energy, and you can see that the kind of things that happen around that time also reflect that kind of energy. Okay, let's go back. We all know what happened on September 11th, 2001. Markets were already in a bear market that had been going on for 2 years, I guess since 2002. So one going on to 2 years, and this attack came in perfectly during when there was low earth energy. Something for you to think out there. And then consider this: on the 27th, just when the market started the most recent descent on December 27th, is when the Kenyan elections began, and we all know what happened with all the fighting in a country that has never seen that kind of civil strife, reminiscent of the genocide in '94. Again, on the very day of the election is when the market starts this steep downtrend. Now, I am Kenyan. I was born in Kenya. I tell you one thing: whenever the markets were down big in January, that's when there was the biggest days when people were killing each other, number of people who lost their lives. So there's a correlation between the energy out there and the way markets are behaving. So sometimes just do not fight what you see. What you see is probably bigger than you can understand. Now, what I also did is I went back and checked. This is what you're looking at is a chart that shows the S&P 500 over the last 2 years weekly, and I compared this with the Alexa website rankings or traffic flow for the Secret.tv, which is a spiritual movie. And I want you to see some interesting correlation. Some of them are very obvious. For example, you see this peak right here. The blue line is the website traffic. You see this peak right here corresponds with this nice drop that we had in early 2007. So how could this be happening? You see every time we peak, the market forms a small peak and we drop almost in sync. Now watch this drop right here. Was predicted by this drop. Okay, you can see it very well, but if you go back, I'm just going to leave this for a moment. If you take time and look at all this up and down action, they correlate perfectly. It's kind of hard to see for me to show it to you, but you go and check this out on your own and you'll see some very interesting correlations. It's kind of hard for me to get my my chart to move a little bit there. There you go. And you see right around I think October, we see that peak. Two peaks. This peak corresponds with that peak. This peak corresponds with that peak, and then it drops and then it stabilizes and starts moving higher, and you can see that movement up there. Just interesting observation. I also went back and looked at traffic for Oprah.com and the market going back to 2003. And initially you see this, look at this drop. The blue line again is website traffic, and the dark and red line is Dow Jones weekly chart. Look at how this market was trending lower, up and down, trending lower, and this market was trending lower, just like that, up and down. And then we get out of that funk, in sync. We make a high here, high there, high there, high here, high there. We get this nice slant right here. Look at that action right there, and then a sharp move and a sharp move. We kind of move sideways here, sideways here. We spike here a little bit. I mean, what I'm trying to say that there is definitely a correlation. Look at this spike right here that corresponds with this website spike right there. Now look at this drop that corresponds with this drop right here. Let me move my chart here so we can see what currently is going on. Now I want you to observe something. Okay, you see this drop corresponds with that drop and that spike. Okay, now if you think I'm kidding, check this out. See this action right here? You can see those are, if you draw a neckline right there, that's a left shoulder, right shoulder right there, and a head. Okay, now watch this. Right there we got left shoulder, right shoulder, and a head. So we see that website traffic is predicting what the markets are gonna do, or they are actually in sync. And then we come down, we move up, we move up there, and then now notice another. You see that? I wonder whether I can show that here. Hold on a second. Let me get that off my screen. How can there's something I wanted us to look at? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah. Now notice this right here. This inverted V-shaped action is corresponding with that inverted U-shaped action right there, and a U-shaped right there. We move up, we move up, we come down, and then again we make a high. This high right here corresponds with that high, and then we drop kaplump. We drop kaplump. Now the Oprah website is already making this steep move, and again, like I've been saying, it's predicting to me we're gonna see a move in the market coming pretty soon. All right, this is Eric Mwatha with Mwatha.com, giving you a different perspective, something for you to always consider. Peace and blessings. I am out.